Welcome everyone to the Almost Cancelled TV podcast. I am Peter. I'm joined as always by Connor.
I'm still here, allegedly.
Well, we were here last week though, so it's a bit of a weird thing to say.
Yeah, but neither of us were here last week.
Yeah, the only reason why there wasn't an episode last week, guys, is because there wasn't enough news. I did put out a tweet and a Patreon post saying as such, so worth keeping an eye on those for updates as such. But yeah, I did the news last week, and there just wasn't that much of it. It would have been a very, very short episode, so I just made the choice to roll it into this week. So there's some stuff from last week to make up a reasonably sized episode this week. So apologies for the week absence, and hopefully next week will be fruitful, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Depends if the news cycle happens to have been dominated by something else.
Are you referring to
the one major event that may have happened today as we record this that will definitely impact the news cycle of everything for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of something funny instead.
All I'm saying is some random old woman may have croaked it. Who cares?
Do you know what's funny about you saying that? Is that on stream tonight, someone cracked a joke and said, "Is Connor asked for some time off to deal with the death of the Queen?"
I don't give a shit.
I don't think either of us give a shit.
No. What is funny is at work, so obviously we have like the work playlist that is synchronized across all of them in the country, as is common in a lot of businesses. And then people are like, "Are we going to be shut in?" Like, yeah, like there's a lot of places are going to be shut in. And we were like, "No," as if we're going to shut. We are getting a special playlist update that kicked in after midnight. So, because we were still there after midnight cleaning. Oh, it's going to be the best, most depressing week of our lives. It was like Imagine and Hallelujah. And it's just like, oh god, this is going to be it all day, every day for at least the next week. We're all going to top ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we need a morning playlist.
To be clear, I have nothing against the woman that is the Queen, or was the Queen, I should say, at this point. I just think there is nothing more sad about this than anyone else dying. In fact,
this is why I say, like, it is a woman in her 90s that has died.
96.
Yes, it is objectively sad. And if you knew her, yes, of course you should be upset about that.
But it's not a tragedy, though. It's not a tragedy. 96 is not a tragedy death.
No, if I got sad about every 96-year-old woman that died, Jesus Christ, you'd never get anything done.
In fact, I have not been paying attention to the news cycle, but the one snippet I heard was a newscaster saying the phrase, "The country is in shock." And I'm like, who's shocked? 96?
96, the last 2 years, it's been like, take a step back from duties. This has become a bit much, looking frailer and frailer because, old age. I'm sure that there may have been other conditions going on, right? She's been in hospital in and out for the last couple of years. That happens when people get to that age.
The first thought I had was that they are going to spend far too much money on a giant state funeral when the entirety of the island is in an energy crisis that is suffering from energy prices that are worse than any in mainland Europe. Like, maybe spend some of those millions on helping the poor people. Maybe?
It's fine, though, because Liz Truss will sort out with the pork markets. That's a deep reference. That's an 8-year-old reference for anyone who is unaware. Just Google Liz Truss pork markets and just enjoy yourself.
I need to try and remember. I'm still learning the new Prime Minister's name. So
yes, you just go pork markets as if that solves everything. It's a genuine solution that was expected to have applause as a response.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a lot of pork as an island?
A reasonable amount.
Okay.
But yeah. Well, I mean, not an inconsiderable amount because But pork markets, that's where it's at.
Well, this is a TV podcast. Obviously, the Queen died today, which is why this has started off on a weird bit of non-TV news. tangent. It is worth mentioning, when I was looking up the news earlier today and I went to get the TV stories, there was like 8 stories in a row about the Queen dying in the TV news section. So
my 2 favorite media related tweets, one of which specifically is TV, that I've seen. One was from the cast of Hamilton. Like, be like, I said, thoughts in these times. I'm like, you do know what Hamilton was about, right? Like, kind of weird. And then 2 was someone go, yeah, I don't need to watch the end of The Crown now. I know how it ends.
I mean, that's mildly funny, but
they got an ending for the show now.
We always knew that it was going to end with death. I mean, that's not a surprise.
I mean, you say that, but depends how quickly they cranked out the last couple of seasons, doesn't it? They can't just predict. I mean, obviously they can predict she was going to die, but they can't predict specifics.
Well, are you saying they'd have been upset if they'd had her die of old age and then in real life she actually got like assassinated? It's like, oh shit, now it's wrong.
I mean, more likely a Land Rover crash, but yeah.
One of her corgis finally did her in.
Those evil little bastards.
Oh dear. Yes, a celebrity of sorts has died. Like I said this earlier when I was streaming, is that there's other famous people who have hit me harder because I actually cared about what they contributed to the world. I cared about the work of, say, Bill Paxton's the one I brought up because Bill Paxton's the one that, it was kind of shocking because a little bit early, he was only 61 or whatever. And it was like, oh, I really like his work. This has made me sad that he's dead because I felt like he actually contributed something to my life in some capacity. So... when Gary Busey finally goes, I mean, I don't know how I'm going to react to that.
That's going to be crippling.
Yeah, that's... The world will have lost a source of chaotic energy on that day that we will never fully replace. So, there you go.
We move.
Yeah. Well, okay. What do we usually talk about on this show? We talk about renewals, cancellation, pilot orders, new series, casting, maybe other things, trailers, stuff of that nature. That is what we're going to get into now that we're past this shambles of an opening. Is there any TV things I want to tell you? Final For All Mankind video for season 1 will be up soon. I reviewed the Patient since the last news episode, which is the oddly it's like a sitcom length, but it's actually like a really serious like drama thriller. It's Steve Carell who's kidnapped by Domhnall Gleeson, who wants therapy from him because he's a serial killer.
This sounds amazing.
So the opening episode's like 22 minutes, but
does it live up to that premise?
It was a solid start. Like, I mean, I don't know how well it's going to maintain it, but solid first episode.
That's good. Can I've got a gripe about House of the Dragon that I don't think I've got out on air yet.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
So this is something, I think I'd watched the first episode last time we had one of these. But also there's been episodes 2 and 3 now, and it's fine. I'll keep watching it. I'm not in love with it. It's fine. Although I do have one major problem that I really, really hate. And it was something that they hid in the first episode because they just had that there's a condensed like title screen instead of an opening credits. And then the second episode hit, and they had here's your opening credits sequence. Here's your music. It's the same music. They used the same theme song from Game of Thrones. They didn't even write a new theme.
I think I saw this on Twitter actually.
Like, this is baffling. Why would you? The production values, like, you can have complaints about those shows. Being cheap is not usually one of them.
Well, that would assume this was not a decision made out of money. I feel like this is a decision because we like it and we just want to keep using it.
No, but that's terrible. That's a terrible decision. It's a separate show.
I think I'd be okay with them doing like a new version of the same theme. Like, it's like a cover,
That'd be weird. No, it's literally the same music, just with different visuals behind it.
Use the cat one. Have you seen the cat does Game of Thrones theme song?
Probably. I've seen like 1,000 versions of Game of Thrones theme songs because everyone has.
Meow, 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 meow. It's great. Someone just
Like,
took one clip of a cat and auto-tuned it to Game of Thrones.
I appreciate it's a very iconic theme song. Like, it is up there with some of the most well-known, theme music of all time. But to make a new one, like, it's a new show. Do something different.
At least it's from this right franchise. They could have used like they could have licensed Lord of the Rings music just to be confusing.
Especially as it's airing against the Lord of the Rings show. Yeah, that would be funny. But I know it really got on my nerves, and it's still bothering me right now. Like, I'm like, why?
All right. Yeah. There's stuff coming up as well. I think I'm technically scheduled possibly to do American Gigolo's pilot, which is airing I think tomorrow night at the time of recording. Because we're recording this on Thursday, so if there's any big news that drops on Friday, it'll be on next week's show. Just FYI.
As we've established, Liz croaked it, so everyone's staying silent for a week.
Aye. Lizzie. What's the Queen's last name again?
Windsor? No.
That sounds right. No?
It is the Windsor, isn't it? Maybe?
Alright, Lizzie W.
I think it might be.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as good as Lizzie G or something like that, but Lizzie W.
It is Windsor. Yeah, all right. Okay. I'm good. I know things.
I love the idea there's going to be Americans listening to this who know that. They're like, why did these two not know the Queen's last name?
Give a shit.
Because they're basically, the royal family is basically like a family who's on a reality TV show just before reality TV existed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are.
The proto-Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
For all intents and purposes.
Aye. Anywho, let's get into the TV news of the week, shall we? So starting off with Renewals, Cancellations. You'll be happy with this first one. Harley Quinn's animated series has been renewed for season 4. This came just before the end of season 3. Season 3 is about to wrap up next week. So
yeah, I've not started on season 3 yet. I'm looking forward to it. So happy to hear this news, because obviously there was a bit of a spree going on over there, especially in relation to DC properties.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried.
I have to imagine that this being animated probably makes it quite cost effective, perhaps, compared to...
Didn't help Young Justice.
No, true. But Harley Quinn's a bigger name than Young Justice?
That is true. Yeah.
That's my guess. Hey, Young Justice got what, 2 seasons out of HBO Max? Well, between DC Universe and HBO Max. Yeah. So it went from 2 to 4 seasons. That's not bad.
It did, but there was more. There was supposed to be more.
I mean, that's a shame, but hey, it doubled its lifespan, so that's something.
Just left me crushed again.
So you got that. Apple have renewed Trying for season 4. This came right before the finale, aired on 2nd of September. So again, just this little trend that some of these stations, that sounds so old-fashioned, but you know what I mean, renewing right before the finale. So you can watch the finale and feel comfortable, you know that the next season's coming.
Yeah. You can get your little tuning knob out.
Yeah. Shut up. Here's one you'll also be excited for. Pretty Little Liars Original Sin has been renewed for season 2 at HBO Max.
Yes. This is what I was waiting for.
So all the things that are getting carved up at HBO Max, Pretty Little Liars spin-off, made the cut.
Yeah. Important things get through.
Alternatively, Rutherford Falls has been cancelled by Peacock after 2 seasons.
Don't even know what that is.
Not did I. But I thought the running gag that whenever something from Peacock comes up, we've never heard of it, is something that's worth continuing.
The thing is, we don't have to try. You don't have to pretend. I genuinely have no idea what this is.
So next up, we got some premiere dates. This one did come with a trailer. I didn't bother watching it or make you watch it because it's not a season 1. It's a returning season. Picard, season 3, will premiere its final season on Thursday, February 16th, 2023, obviously. So it's a little bit far out, this announcement, but I guess they want to ramp up to it.
It is Star Trek Day today as we record. Hence,
is that why they announced it?
Star Trek announcements.
Okay.
Yeah. That is the reason why.
Is it because it's First Contact Day? Is that the reason why it's Star Trek Day?
I don't know. I just know it's Star Trek Day, and like last year, that's when we got.
I'm going to assume this is because it's the same date as First Contact Day in universe, but I could be wrong.
Maybe.
Because otherwise,
No,
why is it for Star Trek Day if not that?
Find out.
Why is Star Trek Day September, whatever today's date is? 8th? 7th? 8th?
8th.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't actually know.
Oh, there you go.
A quick Google did not make it obvious. It just tells me all the news instead.
Fair enough. But there you go. So Star Trek Picard's coming. Season 2, well, started off a little promising, ended up being an absolute train wreck disaster. So you just hope they don't actually screw up the reunion season that brings back all the cast.
Sounds like a modern Star Trek show.
You say that, but Strange New Worlds was a delight.
No, I do need to get to that, and I will acknowledge that is seemingly the bright spot.
There's even like an episode I didn't like that much, but I still appreciated existing because it was kind of like an episode that I wouldn't like of the original show. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Picard's coming in February. We also get a premiere date for the Mysterious Benedict Society season 2, which will be October 26th on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So that's coming too. I also came with a trailer for season 2, so you can check that out if you want. And then we have a trailer for an Amazon show from Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, who are notably behind Westworld and Person of Interest. Now, I am actually still very much excited to check out Person of Interest and watch all of it. I've seen some of it. I fell away from it after like a season and a half or something like that. And I'm excited to go back and watch that whole show at some point because I've heard it's good till the end. I've heard that people who like it are happy that it sticks the landing. Westworld, on the other hand, season 3 had some bright spots in the middle, but was a bit of a shit fest by the end. And then season 4's first episode just made me quit because I was like, you know what, this is just, I'm feeling all the problems that I don't like about the show.
Were you not enjoying Rehoboam enough?
I'm amazed that you remembered that name.
I don't even know if that's right, but it sounds vaguely similar enough that I think I can get away with it.
Rehoboam, yeah, it was something like that.
And for the record, I didn't even watch the first episode of season 4. I didn't even come back, so it's been since season 3 since I actually watched it and heard that name.
Is that I'd heard like episodes 3 and 4 were really good of season 4, and the people were saying, no, you made the mistakes, stopping. It's actually getting really good again. And I saw a lot of that consensus. But then the positivity seemed to be gone by the end of the season again. So I think I might have been right.
A little bit of false hope in the middle.
Yeah, which is a shame. But anyway, so they've
made me slightly worried for this show though, because Person of Interest has its fans. And by all accounts, I've not watched it, but I'm not going to say anything bad about that. Westworld, and now I'm concerned that there's that lack of anyone there to say no.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe like working in the confines of a network TV show actually helped restrain them a little bit with Person of Interest. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what's funny actually is that the season 3 plot of Westworld, and to an extent season 4, actually does kind of recycle some ideas from Person of Interest, funnily enough. So anyway, this new show it's called The Peripheral, and it stars Chloe Grace Moretz, who Kick-Ass is the main thing she's known for, but she's been in a bunch of things since then. So this is coming out on the 21st of October, and she plays Flynn Fisher, which that sounds like a superhero alias if I've ever heard one. Flynn Fisher. A woman trying to hold together the pieces of her broken family in a forgotten corner of tomorrow's America. So set in the future. Flynn is smart, ambitious, and doomed. She has no future until the future comes calling for her. The way the trailer presents this, funnily enough, is kind of like the other way around, where it presents it as her getting like almost like a cerebral like VR experience where she puts on this headset and she goes into like a digital world where she gets like an adventure, where she gets to be an action hero. But then by the end of the trailer, it kind of hints that no, this isn't entirely fake. It's actually like the future or something like that. Whereas that description is sort of leaving out that first part and just saying this is involving the future in some way.
Yeah.
But either way, it's an interesting concept. So
it is. I think that's a poor description. Seems to be doing it a disservice from what the trailer seemed very stylish in comparison to that quite bland description.
Yep, I think that's fair. I do like Chloe Grace Moretz.
That's why she's pretty solid.
From I mean, mainly Kick-Ass, but I do like her in a couple of things. And I will say my concern with this trailer is that I do like the concept, but in general, it feels like a lot of, I don't know, a very CW friendly cast, maybe is the best way to put it. There's a lot of like young, attractive people, so that like there's not a lot of grit to it. It feels a bit slick and TV friendly, I guess.
It definitely feels like there's a budget to it as well, though. Like, feels there is maybe I feel that there is a little bit too much style over substance, at least seemingly in the trailer. Maybe it's got the writing to back it up. It very well might have, but it definitely comes off that impression in the trailer.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious about it, and if I need to watch the pilot, or even if I choose to, and I might, because it is a science fiction show with a concept that I could be into, but it was some of the generic stuff, like like the generic love interest looking dude, kind of like whipping out a pistol at one point. There was definitely these sort of generic moments, but I don't know how much of that is just how it's cut as a trailer into like feeling like it's got all these slick little action beats. It
might actually not be that bad, like in the actual thing. I felt the same.
I will say this though, the music track they had on this trailer was delightful. They had this like sort of very eerie synth like pulse thing going on. It was very nice.
I did enjoy that.
I don't know if that's from the show or if they've just got like a track from some music group that does these types of tracks, but
it's hard to say. It's close enough to the show now that it could just be the music.
It could be. So, well, sometimes I'm surprised. I remember like the first teaser for Interstellar, which was a year before the movie came out, was actually the score. It was actually Hans Zimmer's music, which is rare for a teaser so far out in advance.
It is, but also, I think it was Interstellar that Hans Zimmer wrote all the music before anything had been shot.
Fair enough, yeah.
He wrote it all from the script. So obviously it wasn't like time locked. Obviously, like little things got tweaked here or there, but all the main themes were written before a single thing was shot.
Alternatively, Aquaman, I remember getting this trailer a couple months before it came out and had this great track on it. I think it's called Sidewinder, and I can't remember the name of the artist who does it, or the music group that does it. But it sounded so perfect for an Aquaman movie because it sounded kind of aquatic but epic, and the music in the movie was not even close to as good sounding.
I'm trying to remember what Aquaman's music was like.
Oh, it's forgettable and bland.
That's my problem. I genuinely cannot remember it for the life of me.
But I would recommend the music that was in the trailer. So I'm just, it's one of those things where you almost take this risk of like, hey, this was more exciting when it was the 2 Steps from Hell track in the trailer versus what's actually in the movie.
They got your money for Aquaman anyway, so they don't care.
I mean, did I see that in the theater? I probably did because we reviewed that, I'm sure. At the time.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah. Whereas the only superhero movie I've seen in the theater in the last 3 years is the Batman, I think. So Marvel can keep crying. Oh,
you went to Birds of Prey.
Was that in the last 3 years? I guess it was.
Yeah, it was 2020. Yeah, would have been 2020.
So it's about 2.5 years ago now. So it's not far off what I said, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know that was then because that is still the last movie I've seen in the theater.
I'm actually really glad that I risked going to see Tenet when it came out in the August, because if I hadn't, then the last movie I saw in
Jesus
theaters.
Christ. If that was the last movie I'd seen in theaters, that would be depressing.
Oh, I'd be much happier with that than the movie I saw before that.
What was the movie you saw before that?
Bram's the Boy 2.
Oh, give me Brahms any day.
No, piss off. I don't want Brahms.
Oh, Tenet was not good.
I like Tenet, but the sound mix was bad. I will not fight you on the sound mix.
Yeah, that made it, like, as someone who is particularly sensitive to that, like, borderline unwatchable for me.
I love the concept. I love the inventive action sequences, but yeah, the sound mix was terrible. I did like it though. I thought it was a nice return to form after Dunkirk. Dunkirk
was also not good.
Was really not for me.
Yeah.
Yes. And if Tara listens to this particular news episode, she'll be punching her phone screen right now.
Which one is she a fan of?
Oh, she loves Dunkirk. It's her favorite Nolan movie.
Oh, yeah. Paige loves it. Thinks it's amazing. I'm like, what is wrong with you? It's boring.
All right. Next up, then what we got? So, yeah, I mean, just the last thing on the Peripheral. I do think the concept's really good. I think there's some things about the trailer I like, but I am worried it's going to be a little too. I don't know. I just a little too glossy and hollow, which is weird to say because I do think this creative team at their best is very good and knows how to add substance, but some of Westworld as it went on, started to feel a bit hollow.
I feel like maybe there's probably a good first season in there. But I don't know.
We'll see. I'll have a look at it probably. All right. Next up, we got a real mishmash of things to look at here. First up, Neverending Story is and the reason why this is not in the new dramas yet is because no one's actually got it yet. But the news is that there's a bit of a bidding war going on for the rights, so that someone can do a Neverending Story TV show.
Because why not?
Well, because Stranger Things made it popular again, and
yeah, it did, didn't it?
And now they have to do it just so they can use the song.
Yeah, I forgot about that
as the opening title music, or at least they should. Maybe they won't, but they should.
It'll be that, or it'll be the end credits music.
Yeah. Or maybe they'll do that thing. You know how that first episode of The Exorcist TV show where Tubular Bells hit at the end and it was like this epic moment? What if they hold it back all season and then the finale, you just hear it come in, that dreamlike start to it as it sort of fades in?
Yeah.
You could do it.
Work.
So,
yes, this is definitely going to happen.
Oh, for sure. I love how this article frames it next to these other two things. Although, to be fair, I like this one more as a property. While Rings of Power and House of Dragon duke it out for TV ratings, it seems that the European studio head which fantasy property could be the next IP to pop, their answer is a Neverending Story.
It's such a different brand of fantasy.
It is. And while I have a lot of nostalgia for that first movie, I'm not really sure I care about a reboot of any kind, but
yeah, watch it anyway.
So a handful of streamers and studios on both sides of the Atlantic are chasing screen rights to the property by the German author Michael Ende. Deadline have spoken to multiple interested parties, and there are multi-million-dollar offers on the table. German agency AVA represents the estate, but declined to comment. So they're not saying who it is that's after it, but it sounds like, it's a healthy market.
Well, that's not surprising, but fair enough.
Yeah, but I thought that was notable to.
Well, it is pretty notable
to mention. Quick Marvel bit of thing here, but really, I only wanted to mention this because people like the humor of the main part of it. It's Ben Kingsley's coming back as Trevor.
Sure.
In a future TV show. You never saw Shang-Chi, did you?
No.
He was in that as well, so he's not like he's not been back since.
I think I remember hearing that, yeah.
But he's going to be in Wonder Man. And
okay.
I didn't remember there was just going to be a show called Wonder Man.
Yeah, I don't like. Okay, that's a thing.
I am positive that was not on the Phase 5 and 6 slate that Feige showed off.
Is it still part of Phase 4?
No, because this is a while off yet, I think.
Who knows then? We are not that equipped to deal with this anymore.
No.
It has sprawled its tentacles beyond our capabilities.
Yeah, I keep almost watching the new Doctor Strange, and now Thor's available to watch as well, and I'm just like, I just don't want to. I just keep not wanting to. She-Hulk's easy. She-Hulk's like a 25-minute episode. You throw it on. There's a couple of good jokes.
It's over. Yeah. I can get that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to watch it, but I understand that. But like a 2-hour movie, I'm assuming it's about 2 hours.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh.
Yeah. I know. I just don't have the passion for it anymore. Far too many more interesting movies to watch for me. If you still like the MCU, by all means, I love it, enjoy it, but I just I'm not that enthralled by it anymore. Next up, Squid Game's actor Lee Jung-jae has landed the lead role in a Star Wars series.
Which one?
The Acolyte.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm glad you have heard of it because I don't know what that is.
This is the end of the High Republic one, so it's set. It's earliest in the timeline for live action stuff.
Okay. He was great in Squid Game. Squid Game was like a miraculous, wonderful thing from last year. It was excellent through and through.
How was that only last year?
I don't. It doesn't feel so long ago. But I'm sure it was last year.
I mean, I believe you, but
yeah. I highly recommend checking out I think it was 8 or 9 episodes of Squid Game. I would recommend it to everyone. It's kind of cool that like some of the actors and talent from that are like now being pulled into other industries. I mean other film industries and TV industries in other countries. And get big roles elsewhere and be bigger stars. I think that's cool. And in the same way that the creators of Dark are now doing, it's still on Netflix, but they're doing a multi-language series now that's going to have a mixture of English and German and whatever else. So I love these barriers being broken down where it doesn't matter that Squid Game is Korean. It was a hit for everywhere. It didn't matter. It's normalized watching foreign content, and it's someone who's been watching foreign movies since I was 15.
I think but in like recent times, between that and like Parasite.
Parasite was another big one. Yeah,
I think it's done a lot to advance that cause of like, hey, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am more than happy for that to be normalized, and it's great to see a good actor get some.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to that Star Wars show in particular. Compared to, obviously, I'm vaguely looking forward to all of them. There's a baseline, like, I'm going to enjoy it, or I'm going to watch it.
So he's going to play the male lead. Amandla Steinberg has already been set for the other lead role. So that's sure.
Yes, I think we spoke about that not too long ago because I brought it up and you had no idea who they were. I think that's the one that shoots from the Hunger Games, I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. That's Star Wars news, which I noticed. Next up, Jennifer Connelly is going to be in a new Apple series called Dark Matter. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Dark Matter also the name of that show that was on Sci-Fi that lasted? Yes. Well, I think it lasted 3 seasons, and then it was meant to go to 5 and got cancelled, and people were upset about it.
Yes, that's definitely the one, and there was a lot of petitioning.
Yeah. Look, I have no particular affection to that show. I watched the pilot and thought it was kind of mediocre.
It was fine. Yeah.
I will say I don't like them using a title that was just used because that was not long ago. That was a few years ago that got cancelled.
Yeah.
So I would rather, in the same way that a new vampire movie just came out called The Invitation, and I'm irrationally upset about it. I'm like, no, The Invitation from 2015 or 2016 is fantastic. Do not dare take that name already. How dare you?
Yeah.
So I mean, Dark Matter is obviously a cool sounding title. I get it.
It's kind of generic enough as well.
Yeah. But it's a new sci-fi show from Apple, and Apple, having now finished For All Mankind season 1, none of their shows have felt remotely cheap. Like, there's some space sequences towards the end of season 1 of For All Mankind that feel on par with like Gravity in terms of like just how good they look and how they feel.
That is expensive.
It looks high quality. So yeah, it's a 9-part sci-fi show. She's going to star alongside Joel Edgerton, so that's cool.
Always great.
Yeah. The series follows Jason Dessen, a physicist, professor, and family man. It mentioned his professional and personal life.
But I'm already like, where's this going?
Anyway, while walking home on the streets of Chicago one night, is abducted into an alternate version of his life. Wonder quickly turns to nightmare when he tries to return to his reality amid the multiverse of lives he could have lived. In this labyrinth of mind-bending realities, he embarks on a harrowing journey to get back to his true family and save them from the most terrifying, unbeatable foe imaginable, himself. Which sounds like an evil version of him from one of the other...
Multiverse. Yeah, different universe. That was all personal in the end. But, oh my god, so much multiverse stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, objectively, in a vacuum, that sounds really interesting. It sounds like a good show.
Do you know, I'm okay with this because it's not the same way, because Everything Everywhere All at Once, much like this, because it's a story that's written to explore the idea of multiverse, and it's not using it as an excuse to have cameos of things, or like, to me, if you're just doing a story about a multiverse that's standalone, I'm okay with that.
I agree with that in theory, but in practice, there's still a lot of that coming about now because things like the MCU have popularized it. It's easier to greenlight these projects. So even though, yes, they are telling their own story by using a multiverse, it's just a lot. It's
practically becoming its own subgenre in sci-fi at this point. I will say, though, having watched Everything Everywhere All at Once and thinking that movie's pretty great, I do like that this doesn't sound like it's handling it the same way. This sounds more like this sounds less quirky and more like there's a sort of set of rules and he's trying to get back home, and it's more of a sci-fi adventure. Whereas Everything Everywhere All at Once was more about like everything happening, and like, it's literally in the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once. But
yeah,
it's handled in a different way, which I appreciate. So yeah. But no, I like the sound of it, and Apple's kind of winning me over with its shows recently. So
those bastards, how dare they?
I mean, For All Mankind, Ted Lasso, and
I just want
Severance.
Ted Lasso season 3.
It's coming.
I know, but it's late.
In fact, other than Ted Lasso, everything I'm saying is sci-fi. For All Mankind and Severance are sci-fi. This is sci-fi. They're winning me over with the sci-fi content. So yeah, give me more Apple.
I don't care about anything else. Don't care about any. I mean, I say that I actively choose not to watch too much of it because I don't want to get hooked. Because I can't afford too many subscriptions.
Apple's like the cheapest one. Get rid of shitty Netflix, which costs.
But I use Netflix a lot because it has nonsense I can put on in the background at all times. Apple doesn't have that.
They're building a library. They'll get there.
Yeah, maybe eventually.
They'll get there. All right, there's what was it called? That was Dark Matter. I spent like 5 minutes ranting about the title.
Yeah.
Dark Matter.
Forgot immediately.
Next up, just a quick update on the Goldbergs. I felt this was worth mentioning because Jeff Garlin, who is the sort of the patriarch of the family, obviously had some accusations, and he's been written off the show. They're killing him off between seasons, and when the new season starts up, he'll have been dead for a couple of months. The idea being that they can address it, but the family's gotten over it a little bit, so they don't have to dwell on it too much. So,
cool. Let's do it.
Which is the typical way. Not just when someone's fired, like even when like an actor dies, like in real life. That typically, I remember it happening in Cheers. I remember it happening in a UK show, Only Fools and Horses, with the grandfather. That's how we ended up with Uncle Albert, and I liked Uncle Albert even more. So,
everyone won.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what the consensus is in Cheers. If people preferred Coach or Woody overall.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the consensus. Maybe it's 50-50. Maybe there's just most people like both. But
yeah, I've never heard anyone have a really strong opinion on it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right. Moving on. So this is kind of an update to a story from I don't know if it was last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, but the Superman and Lois casting thing with Jonathan's actor leaving. Well, they've cast the replacement as the news this week. Australian actor Michael Bishop has been cast to replace Jordan Elsis.
Hope to God he just has his Aussie accent in it.
That would be funny, actually.
Don't address the recasting. Just don't address the Aussie accent.
Just comes down the stairs and goes, "G'day, mate." Just out of nowhere.
I would love it.
Is it like, basically
please.
Someone runs in and says, "Oh, quick! There's an avalanche happening, Clark. You have to fly off," and then he just goes, "Crikey." For the record, I'm not trying an Australian accent because I know I can't do one. I'm just saying the phrases.
But it would make that show so much better if they just had the balls to commit to that.
If people tell me he just goes full Australian and they never address it, I'll watch it again. I'll go back to it.
100%. I won't even watch season 2. I'll jump in at season 3 and just go, I don't care what's going on. I need to see this.
full disclosure, because people obviously know we're doing Outlander just now, and we're giving it a try. We're getting up to episode 8 and seeing how it is. We did have to skip a week because we didn't get. There was a lot of delays in recordings last week. So episode 3 is up for patrons just now, but it'll be next week before it's up for everyone else. And we've got some shows in the waiting to, like sort of rotate in and out. I'm letting you know, one of them is Smallville. Like, we will continue shitting on Smallville at some point. Like, it's happening.
I don't remember agreeing to this. Was I drunk?
We talked about this. We did season 1 on an old podcast called Television from the Multiverse. Don't worry, if we return to Smallville at some point, and we probably will, I will make sure that those reviews are chopped out of it and put up as an easy to watch thing.
Yeah. I do miss shitting on Smallville.
The problem with that show, that podcast, I should say, there's a lot of problems with Smallville, which
where do you want to start?
We will numerously talk about when the time comes. Because we did season 1 of it. The problem with Television in the Multiverse is that keeping up with 5 or 6 mediocre to bad shows weekly was exhausting and draining. But keeping up with one that is amazingly bad that we can keep making fun of is actually quite fun. So, it will happen. Unfortunately, we don't have a third slot. We do Trek, we're doing Outlander, and that'll rotate. We don't have a third slot to do a bad show in, otherwise that's what we'd probably be doing. But know that it's one day.
The hypothetical third slot is the news.
Sure, yes, and I think you'd rather have the news. But when a slot opens up,
so would my liver.
Smallville and Gotham, for that matter, will return.
Oh man, I forgot about Gotham.
Right, we will pick up where we left off on those shows someday.
There's a promise, or maybe a threat. Maybe both.
not at the same time, obviously, but one or the other. But
Yeah. We just do what alternate each week.
Oh, okay.
Treat like we did with Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. We have Gotham and Smallville. I'm
not taking away like a good show though to do it necessarily.
Not yet.
Not yet. There is talk of maybe if we do keep Outlander to finish season 1 and then put it on hiatus and do something else for a season, then come back to Outlander. So
things are in flux.
There's possibilities. Anyway, yeah, that's I thought of that whilst I was. I don't know why I was thinking about that this week, that we have to go back to Smallville at some point, but this reminded me.
I was so confused as well because you started talking about, like, we were talking about the going full Aussie and accents, and then you mentioned Outlander. I was like, oh, is this a weird pickup thing on the accents in that show that you were going to mention that you forgot to talk about in one of the reviews?
No.
And then you started going on about Smallville. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm just saying, I think people enjoyed us ripping the piss out of Smallville.
I hope they bloody did, because otherwise, why did my liver suffer?
Would we do it that way again? Would we watch it together? Were you getting drunk and then just record straight after it?
I mean, I'm getting drunk either way.
Because that's how we did Smallville and Gotham. We'd watch them together while you were getting pissed during it, and then talk about them straight after. That was the format.
Yeah.
Not like you're complaining. All right, next up. We're going to do comedies and animated shows. Mostly animated, actually. There's a few animated stories this week. So first up, after a 6-way bidding war, Hulu has got Phony, a half-hour project from the Marcel the Shell with Shoes. Sorry, Marcel the Shell with Shoes on. It's actually quite hard to say, which is intentional. It's meant to be a tongue twister. Co-writer Nick Paley. Hulu's not commenting, but the project apparently, which is now ABC's signature, or was ABC's signature, is now at Hulu, is a script-to-series commitment with a big high 6, low 7-figure penalty. So probably happening then.
Yeah.
I mean, if Batgirl is getting canned for some tax credits, there's no way they're giving up their 7 figures. So yeah, ABC signature-based Drew Goddard, writer of The Martian and creator of Marvel's Daredevil series, also director.
No, don't say it. I just don't want to hear it.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, I know, but That's just one step. There's a daisy chain that you do here.
It's not even a daisy chain. He actually wrote episodes of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I know. That's what I was telling you were going for straight away. And then for some reason, I thought you'd blanked. I was like, shit, have I dropped myself in it?
Yeah. Also, I think I misspoke there. I think it is with ABC Signature. I was just confused for a second what ABC Signature was. I think it's just the production arm that's making it.
Okay.
Anyway. So written by Paley, Phony is a coming-of-age mystery described as a freaks and geeks trapped in the Twilight Zone. Okay, that's an interesting line. It follows Sonny, a popular high school kid who wakes up after a strange car accident and discovers his mum has been replaced by an imposter. So it's like a high-concept comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not against the idea. Sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
Maybe it'll play with the idea that he's just got like a head injury and he just thinks it's not his mum. And that's like maybe what the show's going to have this push and pull on. Maybe.
Yeah, it could be, yeah. Work. It's always a risk with high concept comedies, isn't it, though?
It is, yeah. It's hard to kind of keep them going for a long time. But next up, we got Amazon Freevee, which, by the way, I noticed on my Fire tablet recently that there's now a Freevee like app. Like, it's just appeared. Like they've added it to the main page of my tablet, and I'm like,
they bonoed you.
How dare they? How dare you give me Freevee?
Yeah,
I don't want Freevee. Anyway, so it's been picked up to series a Laverne Cox and George Wallace comedy called Clean Slate from Norman Lear's Act 3 Productions and Sony Pictures Television. So this is a formal order of a half-hour project starring Cox and Wallace. So yeah, the comedy was initially announced as part of the NBC Universal development slate in January 2020, but it moved to Amazon Freevee for development in early 2021. Clean Slate follows Henry, an old school and outspoken car wash owner who is thrilled his estranged child is finally returning home to Alabama. That's one of them. After 17 years. However, Henry has a lot of soul searching to do when the child he thought was a son returns as the determined, proud trans woman Desiree, played by Cox. So yeah, returning hometown is one of the drinking rules, Connor. On you go.
Yep, that's quite nice.
I don't know if this will be any good. Like, I have no idea what the comedy is going to be like or what the writing's like, but it feels like there should probably be a sitcom with this premise somewhere on TV, and I don't know if there is one.
Yeah, is there not already? Like, not that I'm saying that. I'm surprised it's not already. If there's not,
I don't know of any, but I mean,
no, I don't either.
I can imagine there's probably like side characters who are trans in sitcoms that maybe to have part of this plot, but this being the central premise of the main two characters is that this is the father and trans woman daughter. That feels like they've not done that yet, and it's free VTV, and I don't know how much that counts as like a proper like network yet, but
yeah, Amazon are insisting it's real. I'm not sure I believe them.
But it does feel like there should be at least a couple of sitcoms with a premise like this somewhere. So, on a social level, I appreciate its existence. I have no idea if it's going to be any good comedy-wise, though.
Yeah, wait and see.
Yeah. But hey, cool. So then some animated stuff here. So Emmy-nominated writer, comedian, and actor Dwayne Perkins from the Amber Ruffin Show has been tapped to write and executive produce Fox's animated series Clue, based on the Hasbro hugely popular mystery board game. That's Cluedo for people in the civilized nations. Yeah. I'm just joshing. I'm just making fun because Americans simplify the name to take away the pun that it's supposed to have.
It's too complicated for them.
But yeah, so Clue or Cluedo, the board game, where you get 6 characters, there's a murder somewhere. Turned into a very entertaining movie in the 80s with Tim Curry and like an all-star cast. It's really
shockingly fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good little movie. So yeah, animated series. Tim Story has also joined the project and will executive produce with Lynn Barry for the Story Company. Project was set up at Fox for development last year and comes from Hasbro's E1 and Fox Entertainment owned Bento Box Entertainment. There's a lot of company names around. So Clue reunites Perkins' story. Perkins co-wrote and stars in stories The Blackening, which is premiering at the Toronto Film Festival. The MRC horror comedy film, which Perkins co-wrote with Tracy Oliver, is based on Perkins' viral Comedy Central digital short of the same name. So yeah, they've got a horror comedy movie coming out soon.
That was a lot of words for not a lot of information.
I know. There's no details about the premise, but I mean, we know what Clue and Cluedo is, so you know. There have been reports that, assurances, which is an interesting word. They're assuring, just in case we were worried they might screw it up, encapsulating the thrilling and suspenseful dynamics that have made Clue a global sensation for more than 7 decades. I would recommend keeping the. I mean, it's like an animated show, so I expect it will be lighthearted. But I would imagine keeping a tone similar to the movie would benefit it greatly. I think there are advantages to that, but also if you want to just feel like your own thing, it's an animated murder mystery, right? Essentially, because it's a TV show, though,
play that a little bit darker if you wanted to.
Because it's a TV show, I suspect that you'll have the 6 main characters, but there'll be like guests in every episode, so you can have a different set of suspects, and one of them's the murderer. I would assume.
Hey, maybe. I don't know. I think that takes away too much from the premise.
Do you just have a different victim every week?
I personally, what I would do is I'd do a season-long mystery.
Really? You just do a season-long?
I do half-hour episodes, like 8 or 10 episode season, and do a season-long mystery.
I think I'm imagining more of a...
And you do that in the house, like the mansion.
Yeah,
right?
obviously,
that's the standard. But like season 2, you just do different murder mystery, different location. But yeah, that's what I would do.
Take the same cast and put them in a different location. So instead of a mansion, season 2 is on a cruise ship or something.
Yeah.
I was thinking more Scooby-Doo-esque, which is just so you've got a different one to solve every episode. But I mean, it's whatever they're going to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that as well. Like, I really don't know.
So I don't know, and I wonder if, because I bet they'll use every weapon that's in the game, but then once they run out, they'll start getting creative. Okay, we've used the candlestick, we've used the gun, so on and so on. Okay, now we'll use the meat hammer. Like we'll just.
I was gonna say the potato peeler.
Oh sure, why not?
Yeah.
But hey, I see potential in it. It's an animated series. Helps sell the game, I guess, as well. It's a good bit of marketing.
Does it need help?
Probably not, but it makes it more relevant again. Probably.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, gets it in the zeitgeist a bit again. So yeah, a bunch of rap talent, including Ice-T and NWA's Arabian Prince, are behind a new animated series that features an original score from Dr. Dre. Death for Hire: The Origin of Tech City is a project that includes both a graphic novel and an animated series. The project will launch a graphic novel from Z2 Comics, probably Z2 Comics, probably an American company, created by Ice-T, founding NWA member Arabian Prince, and artist Tommy the Animator, before the IPs rolled out as an animated series, music, toys, and NFTs. Oh. This feels so hollow and corporate.
Yeah.
We've got an entire list of different medias and merchandise we want to do on this name.
That's all it is. It exists to prove they can.
Yeah. So the graphic novel introduces a brutal ensemble of pushers and murderers in a world where the line between anti-hero and arch-villain blurs quickly. The animated series, which is in production with conversations with streamers and networks, will feature the voice talent of the likes of Ice-T, his wife Coco, Snoop Dogg, Tracy Morgan, Busta Rhymes, Trick or Treat Mother Effer, Mike Epps, Treach, just someone called Treach, I've never heard of them, but fair enough, Arabian Prince, Peter Scanavino, Roxanne Shante, Ben Baller, Styles P, Tone Trump, Emilio Rivera, Tommy the Animator, and Shannon Eric Denton. A lot of those are real names. Because most of them, I mean, most of those are stage names that have been picked by the people, obviously, but
yeah.
But it makes
it would be really weird if it wasn't.
It makes it a really weird list to read out in one big row, though. It's like all these like stage names that have been picked.
Yeah.
Other than maybe like a couple, Shannon Eric Denton sounds like it could be a real name, But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Treach and Arabian Prince were were chosen by their respective.
I don't know. They just
people.
had unique parents.
But what was it? First name Arabian, last name Prince.
Yeah, could happen.
I'm quite cynical about it. This feels like a. Do you know what this feels like? You know how when a bunch of these artists, not the same artists, although one or two of them might be involved, got together to do a music streaming service to battle Spotify like 10 years ago? Remember this?
You know about Deezer?
Is that it? Whatever it's called.
No, Tidal.
Tidal, that was the one.
Yeah, Tidal.
That's what this is making me think of, just it's an animated series.
I think that was Jay-Z.
Okay.
I think that started that one.
Fair enough.
Which is really annoying because obviously they don't have enough of a library to make it worthwhile for me. But man, they have such good quality streaming.
Oh, well, that's good. I just, it's making me think of that. It's a bunch of rich people, famous people getting together to do something that they're all going to see as this pet project, and I just kind of see it destined to fail because they're already banking on it being this like multimedia success. I don't know.
But also they have enough of a fan base between them that it might just coast by on just that.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Even if they pick up no one new.
But coasting by and becoming like a thing in the zeitgeist is a very different thing.
I don't see it being that, but it could be profitable still.
Sure.
It depends what their expectations are, really.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm all a bit cynical. I mean, honestly, I was already cynical when you said animated series, graphic novel, music, and toys. And toys sounds kind of weird given the premise.
Let's not forget the NFTs.
Well, no, that's what I'm getting at. Is that I was cynical before it even said NFTs, and then NFTs is like, okay, you're not even hiding what you are. NFTs shows you're a bunch of shells.
Yeah.
Like, I'd already be cynical and like even just because this could be the 90s and they'd be saying all these things. They'd be like, oh, this is a bit much. Like you're kind of banking on all these things coinciding.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Death for Hire. Make of it what you will. Next up, Fox has got a bunch of things in the works, a couple of descriptions here, but they're basically planning on doing like a new Monday night block of like animated comedy or animated shows in general. Obviously, Fox are known for The Simpsons, Family Guy, so on and so on. They've always had a couple of animated shows like that.
Yeah.
But this is another night of animated shows that they're planning from Monday nights in May 2023. So this will kind of be summer content almost, some of this stuff.
Interesting.
So they're planning as a 4-show 2-hour block, right? So 4 half-hour shows on Monday nights, and it's got a couple of things sort of in the works here. You've got Dan Harmon's Krapopolis, and the John Hamm voiced Grimsburg as part of the things. I've got descriptions for that, and it says it's got another couple in the works as well. So I'll just get into them. So Krapopolis, the ancient Greek comedy from Rick and Morty co-creator Dan Harmon, also Community, by the way. Don't leave that out. That's fantastic.
In their defense,
it's more relevant, I get, but
yeah,
still, 6 seasons in a movie, baby. Come on. So I don't need to watch Rick and Morty. Like the fans are, put you off a bit sometimes, but I did really like season 1 and 2 when I watched it.
I got bored during late season 1. I gave up.
Sure. Not for everyone. Anyway, so this is to launch with a preview on the 27th of November. So again, I guess it's just a pilot. Get an early.
It's a long time between that and the rest of it, though.
Ahead of its full release next May. The series, which is Fox's first fully owned animated series, that's a very. It's not that interesting, but it's just kind of interesting to hear. It's like, oh, they've never actually completely owned any of their.
Surprising, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Disney owned The Simpsons. I mean, that's clear. But this is the first time the network's actually owned one of its series. It's animated series, that is. Ahead of its... sorry, I'm going back up to the previous line. It centers on Tyrannus or Tyrannus? I'm not sure how the white might pronounce that.
Tyrannus.
Tyrannus? Okay. Obviously tyrannical is kind of like what it's alluding to. Voiced by Richard Ayoade.
I'm in.
I knew you'd like that part.
I'm in. I'm sold. Honestly, I was sort of like, ancient Greek comedy. I can get behind this. And then Ayoade.
And you don't like Rick and Morty, but you do like Community, right?
I don't love Community, but I like Community.
Okay. Well, I love Community. I like Richard Ayoade a lot, a great deal. So you know,
Who doesn't? National treasure. Now, when he croaks, that'll be a sad day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like a happy death. When Margaret Thatcher died and everyone was celebrating in the streets, like, you know, that made sense.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. She was an awful human being. So,
yeah.
You know. Anyway, so yeah, voiced by Richard Ayoade, the mortal son of a goddess and a benevolent king of Chiropolis, one of the world's first cities in ancient Greece. Hannah Waddingham play. That's the real part. That's not a character in the show.
That's what's her name from Ted Lasso.
Which one? Oh,
the boss.
Okay. Okay. All right. I didn't know that was her last name. Waddingham.
Yeah, Waddingham.
Oh, Waddingham. Okay, that's how you say it.
I assume is how you say it.
It probably is. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I've just never seen the name before, so it's thrown me for a loop. But she's playing to play Deliria, Tyrannus' mother, goddess of self-destruction and questionable choices. Oh god.
I'm so into this.
Oh no, I've just seen the next name. There's one more casting bit for this.
Oh, come on.
Oh god. While I'm going to rearrange this to leave the name till last. Okay. While Schlub, Tyrannus' father, and Minotaur is voiced by Matt Berry.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch, I'm in. So, we got a Matt Berry and Richard Ayoade reunion.
Matt Berry, Richard Ayoade together without the transphobic writer.
Yep.
I mean, I love IT Crowd and Father Ted, but obviously, you know, screw
Linham.
What his name is, yeah. But you got them together.
Oh.
Waddingham's no slouch.
Literally everything about this is like, yes, you must watch this.
And I like Dan Harmon. I don't really care about the Greek part, but I don't give a shit. I don't care about it. At this point, it doesn't matter.
It says a lot, to my sensibilities that the Dan Harmon part is the least exciting bit for me.
It may be the most exciting. I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, I think Ayoade and Berry such a.
That's an iconic.
That's a
casting pairing.
It's just. They buried that to the end. The Matt Berry just in that last little sentence there like that.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Anywho, apparently they're going to bridge the gap between the November preview and the May launch of the series with a series of digital content drops as well as blockchain business designed to carry into the summer block on Monday nights. So, I mean, I'm not going to blame anyone involved for that. That's Fox doing that shit.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes. The block will also include the second season of therapy dog comedy Housebroken, so I won't mention too much about that. So it's not a season one. But...
nothing else on this block matters after
that. So yeah, the Monday block is designed to complement Fox's long-running Sunday block of animation, which obviously has Simpsons, Family Guy, and Bob's Burgers. Yeah. His Majesty's Dragon.
Oh, I'm in. They got me. Suck.
I've not even said anything about it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Right, there's also a major push into adult animation drama. Last year, Deadline revealed that the network was developing an animated series based on Robert C. O'Brien's Rats of Nim book series. The project, which comes from Fox Entertainment and MGM-owned Orion Television, will be joined by an animated take on His Majesty's Dragon, a fantasy novel by Naomi Novik. The series, which is in development, has received a script commitment, is set during an alternate history version of the Napoleonic Wars, in which dragons not only exist, but are piloted like skyships and choose their own masters.
Yeah, I have all of the. I've not read them yet. I have all the books of this series. I'm very excited to read them. But yeah.
So yeah, I thought you'd be interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my sort of shit.
Yeah, the series will primarily be on events involving titular dragon trainer Chimariri, I'll say, and his handler Will Lawrence. Yeah, okay.
Which is the title of the first book in the series, that name, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the people involved in it is the guy who wrote and created Powerless, if you remember that.
Yeah, okay.
I thought that was alright.
It's fine, but
I kind of liked it.
Doesn't make me excited, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Worth
A
mentioning.
lot of good animation stuff coming up. I know there's no date yet. I know it's in November, but the next season of Dragon Prince on Netflix. Very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that was the two things with the proper descriptions. It also mentions here that they're also developing the Flintstones project Bedrock, which has came up before as well. So
yeah,
you can kind of see how they're trying to build a night. Like, I actually do kind of appreciate networks try to have a theme night. Like, they've not done it as much in a while, but I did really like when NBC had like a 2-hour block of just sitcoms on like a Thursday, because you usually had like 2 or 3 that were quite good, and it was kind of like this. They had this sort of competition between the shows to actually all be good enough.
That just reminded me of something from today in the news. So Queen said all the channels are like, we are suspending our broadcast to cover this. Do you want to know the one channel that didn't? Out of the major ones, E4. Do you want to know what they continued to show despite the breaking announcement?
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. Because E4's got to show its reruns.
I mean,
it's that's a British institution itself.
Why would okay? I get why like BBC One, ITV, and Channel 4 would all like.
Yeah, what, everything was interrupting it.
But why break up the cable channels? That's just stupid.
Yeah, no, they all were anyway. And then E4 was just like, screw this, Big Bang Theory reruns.
Well, imagine watching the Playboy channel and it stops. You're mid wank and then it comes up saying the Queen's died. It's a buzzkill.
Well, maybe for you.
It just makes you go faster.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
All right, out of the dramas then, shall we? Jeez.
Yeah, about time.
All right. William Friedkin is coming on board a TV project. Obviously, you might know him from The Exorcist, French Connection. So he's found a script and a star that he is excited about. Kiefer Sutherland is going to be the star, and he's going to star as Lieutenant Commander Queeg in the Caine Mutiny Court Martial. Using a 15-year-old play script written by Herman Wouk. This from his Pulitzer Prize winning novel. It's been plotted for a January start. It's going to be a limited series. And yeah, so obviously it's the big names here that are making this a big deal.
Yeah.
They're doing the Caine Mutiny. So he's apparently very excited. The original novel, the 1954 movie, which is relatively famous, with Humphrey Bogart. I've not seen it, but I actually bought it on iTunes as part of a bundle a while ago, so I've got it sitting there waiting to
one day
be watched. It was like 10 movies for like $10. It was great.
That's pretty good.
It was like 10 war movies, and I wanted to see 3 of them. I'm like, well, you know what? That's paid for itself. Like the other 7 are bonus.
Yeah,
I'll get to them. So yeah. But yes. Robert Altman directed a 1988 teleplay of the film, which starred Midnight Run's Brad Davis as Queeg, set during World War II. A naval officer stands trial for mutiny for taking command from a ship captain he feels is acting in unstable fashion, endangering both the ship and its crew. So, like, you've probably seen stories like this since then. Obviously, this is probably one of the earlier versions, so I imagine the ones I've seen of taking from this rather than,
I would assume so,
other way around. But you've probably seen similar stories in this idea of, like, who's in the right? Is the person right to take control? Is the captain really, like, should they be relieved of duty, or is this like some power play? The one my mind goes to right away is Crimson Tide with Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington, and kind of that.
It's kind of fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It focuses on there's like a nuclear submarine in that case. So there's this like, do we follow this order that maybe isn't valid to launch a nuke?
There's definitely been Star Trek episodes that have followed
for
that
sure.
premise.
Yeah. So that was cool. The original piece was written for World War II. Then Wook included all the pent-up anger in the country went over for Pearl Harbor. I've updated it so it's no longer Pearl Harbor. I've made it contemporary, involving the Gulf of Hormuz and the Straits of Hormuz leading to Iran. Yeah, so I don't know if they're going to update it again or they're just going to make it a period piece.
Still,
they've got a choice, really.
Even though, okay, it's set slightly longer, but those places are still relevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
to most people today, as opposed to obviously Pearl Harbor in World War II is catastrophically relevant in a grander scheme, but most people alive today will still remember this stuff from 15 years ago.
Yeah. It's not even just that. Just in the sense you want to set it somewhere where it realistically could happen today, rather than someplace that people remember. I think not that there couldn't be another thing at Pearl Harbor, but Pearl Harbor, for lack, pretty peaceful for a long time. I don't think there's been much risk to it, as far as I know, in the last 60, 70 years. So, hey, you got a big name, Kiefer Sutherland starring vehicle. William Friedkin's a very good director. I do find his actual personality to be a bit off-putting at times when I've heard him talk about certain things. But he does direct a damn good movie on occasion. So,
interesting to see what he does in TV.
Yeah. I don't remember the last thing he directed, or if he's one of these directors that have went downhill in the later years. But certainly his work in the 70s through to the early 90s was pretty solid. So
yeah,
good stuff. Next up, we have the murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich and the wild conspiracy theories it spawned as the subject of a limited series in development at Sony Pictures Television titled hashtag I am Seth Rich with spaces.
I hate it.
That's weird.
I hate it so much. You're doing with space as well, so you've ruined your whole point.
That's why I get confused there for a second.
I get that they've done it to make it readable at a glance, but then get rid of the hashtag.
Yeah. The series inspired by Andy Kroll's book A Death of a W Street, The Murder of Seth Rich and the Age of Conspiracy. That just rolls off the tongue. That just rolls off the tongue. Hails from Kroll and For Life and Without a Trace creator Hank Steinberg. So, I Am Seth Rich chronicles the birth of the modern-day conspiracy movement that began following the 2016 murder of the DNC staffer Seth Rich, as the Rich family seeks justice for their son's murder, only to find that his death is being used to create a false counter-narrative that involved almost every aspect of the political machine. They become engulfed in this sprawling story, which touches nearly every aspect of the modern misinformation era. For years, the Richies have battled in the press and in the courts to clear their son's name in this cautionary tale about what might be our future. And was also our past, because it was based on the story.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think you have to write that very... You have to draw the audience into that, and it does sound a bit dry.
Yeah.
On its own. So, talent could lift it. But...
Yeah, they can convince me, but as of right now, going to take more.
All right. Universal Television is doing a fantasy show. They're it's a TV series adaptation of Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar literary universe.
I'm not familiar.
So they're developing the Heralds of Valdemar based on a series of trilogies of novels. So this is multiple trilogies that make up this universe. Kit Williamson, who created Netflix's LGBTQ comedy series Eastsiders, is adapting with author Brittany Cavallaro, who, that's just a hard word for me to say with the R's and L's, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes series of books. The pair bonded over the books in school and will now write and produce the TV adaptation. This comes after Wheel of Time producer Radar Pictures, founded by Interscope Records co-founder Ted Field, optioned the rights to the book as revealed by Deadline. Patting themselves in the back there a little bit. So the trilogies in question, The Last Herald Mage, The Arrows, The Mage Winds, and The Mage Storms trilogies create the world of Valdemar, a place millions of readers return to again and again. Valdemar follows three teenagers chosen by fate to protect the realm Vaniel, a young queer hero on a journey of self-discovery, Talia, a sheltered girl escaping an oppressive religious cult, and Elspeth, what to think about that? Elspeth, a princess determined to be her own hero. I hate these names. I hate
Kind
them.
of just sounds like Power Rangers. I'm not gonna lie.
Power Rangers.
The teenagers destined to protect the realm.
It sounds like other fan. I don't know if it sounds like Power Rangers.
It does, but I don't know. There's just something about the specific way it was worded made me think Power Rangers.
This is not 5 teenagers with attitude, all right?
Are you sure? Might be 3 teenagers with attitude.
While separated by centuries, their journeys are linked, so different timelines, I guess. Each battling the same evil force with the world hanging in the balance.
Okay. It sound a bit generic based off of this description. Maybe the books are not as generic as it sounds.
Sounds very young adult to me as well.
Yeah, I could see that description going either way, honestly.
They never said young adult, but it feels young adult from that description to me.
Yeah.
But hey. Final story of the week. Our one network TV story.
Oh, go on. Hit me.
This is Fox. They've got Mark Cherry. Or Mark Cherry. Maybe it's Cherry, you pronounce his name, I'm not sure. But he is back on network TV. He's working with Fox. He struck a deal to set up a project, and it's landed a script commitment from the network, and it's been eyed for a potential straight-to-series order, which is big for network TV, because normally you get pilots, and then...
It is, yeah.
So it follows the story of a sheltered Maryland housewife who, at the moment her marriage falls apart, discovers that she has a special psychic power and is recruited by a secret government agency, where she will have to juggle her broken family and saving the world. That's professional and personal.
It's professional and personal. And that's bordering on cop show, but one of them's a
psychic. Yeah, it kind of is, yeah. It doesn't mention her partner, which is why it doesn't quite...
Yeah, but it's almost there.
Yep, apparently they're saying it's the unlikely story of a heroic housewife.
Is it really? Well, sign me up.
Well, they had one of the drinking rules, so it didn't disappoint.
No, they gave me something.
So there you go.
I'm glad it existed just for that.
2 things hit it this week. You got two drinks. I don't know. Everything's disappointing after the beer made you drink 4 times in one paragraph.
Never getting top. So all the worst part is I keep seeing actual praise for that show, and I know can't
people
take
like
it seriously.
Yeah, people still say it's a good show. Yeah,
and I just can't take it seriously anymore.
All I can hear is professional and personal.
Yeah,
that's all I can hear.
They've ruined it for themselves.
Yeah, all it matters to us. No one else cares. But
well, yeah, but we're the most important people that they should be appealing to.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is all the news for the week. Some of it was from last week, of course, but assuming there's a reasonable amount, and there probably will be. Unless people... I know that apparently there's a rumor Nintendo actually delayed a Direct because of the Queen's death, which is insane. What does this Japanese company, who's a worldwide company, give a shit about the Queen's death? But
objectively speaking, they don't, but just it has impact. Like, they're cancelling football games, which is huge in this country. I know you don't care, but football, soccer for you weird people across the pond, but that's a big deal to cancel some of those games.
Can we have a royal family member die on a daily basis so that we never have to have football again?
That sounds expensive to hire that assassin.
I don't know if they're procreating quick enough. We'll run out.
Definitely not.
We'll run out too quick, unfortunately.
Yeah. You might manage to get a few weeks though.
Oh well, there you go. That's your TV news for the week. By all means, let us know what you thought of the stories in today's show. Check out the various reviews. Obviously, check out Mail Fuzz Movies to get the movie review podcasts. Streams After Midnight, the Atomic Cinema Experiment, and soon a new show. So
you're giving yourself more work.
This one's been in the works for a while. This is not a new thing. Oh, there is a title for it now.
Okay.
It's called...
Are you announcing the title?
I can say it. I don't mind saying it. People would like to hear it.
Go then.
It's called The Collector's Cut.
Very vague.
Is it very big? All right. Well, David came up with it, so it's, you know, it's not even my fault if it's bad. But there you go. Coming soon, probably end of October, start of November is when the first episode will actually go out. But if you want to see me miserable, me and Tim just did the fourth Twilight movie on streams after midnight, so there's something to enjoy.
It's not a good movie.
No, it's not.
No.
So go check out all these things. But you can, of course, support us financially by hitting the super thanks button below the video. And you can, of course, go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and support all the content on a monthly basis and get some bonuses. The Almost Cancelled TV News podcast does go out sometime on a Saturday before the Sunday release on the early access tier, if that's of interest to you. So go and have a look. But for the most part, it's just about, you know, keeping all the content coming. And, you know, so go and have a look. But that's us. So thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?